Video on. Good evening to all. Thank you for being here. And it's my privilege to introduce our resource team today. Mr. Naveen Fernandez, who's a member of our ICBN group, is one of the resource people. He's been an investment advisor since the past 37 years. And he's one of the 2000 certified financial planners since the past 14 years. He also teaches at both Christ University and Joseph's College. He's the author of a book, a textbook on retirement planning. So it's our privilege to have you here this evening, and we look forward to hearing from you. The other person on the team is Mr. Johnny Fernandez, who's a mechanical engineer by profession. But as an engineer, he's traveled the globe. But since 2005, he's taken up financial consulting and is joined one of the insurance companies as a manager in health insurance, and has been advising a lot of people and has a good list of clientele whom he's been able to advise. So welcome, sir. Thank you for being here. We look forward to hearing from the team.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just a quick note on Dr. Pramila Maria. She's the founder of Wealth to Life Financial Freedom Coach and helps individuals to create wealth and securing their families. She has about 12 years of experience in the financial service industry, has a doctorate in management on the subject of impact on NGOs accountability on social development, a study of select NGOs in Karnataka. So we also welcome you, Dr. Maria, to this.
Thank you, sir.
May I request Mr. Naveen Fernandez to take over from here?
Welcome. I want to start by introducing to you our resource person for the our moderator for the evening. Jayant Nanjappa is an old friend. More than an old friend, he's a person that I have worked together with professionally. Jayant is also one of 2000 certified financial planners in India. In fact, he would be among the youngest to have got the certification. Jayant is an investment strategist at 9010 Financial Planners, and he's a co-founder of the Economist, which is a body that does programs, broadcast programs as well on investment. And I found that this is very heavy on intellectual inputs. In fact, I found that there's a lot of regard that we've had for the Council of Financial Planners, where Jayant and I have both been members of the committee, and we've been a part of the knowledge management team. And here, Jayant has been my leader. He's been the head of knowledge management, and I worked under him with a lot of pleasure, and I have learned a lot in this. Jayant is brilliant at networking and able to, when he reaches out to people, he's been able to get response for the various work that projects that we've done in the Council of Financial Planners. For one, a few years ago, he got Richard Thaler to speak to us. He did a Skype, and about 3 or 4 months after Richard Thaler spoke to us, he was nominated for and won the Nobel Prize for Economics. He also got one of my heroes, Morgan Housel, onto us, who Skyped from the US. Saurav Mukherjee, the author of several books and a brilliant fund manager who I have known, but not as well as Jayant. So Jayant has been able to leverage his knowledge and bring it to us in Bangalore. And that's been to our advantage. So I wanted to welcome Jayant and looking forward, Jayant, to your inputs which I know will be very interesting and exciting.
Thanks. Thanks, Naveen, for this introduction. Happy to be here.
We have a very short presentation to talk about the legal aspects and basics of insurance. Very, very simple, very small, short. There is a gentleman named Charlie Munger, and I'm sure some of you would have heard about Charlie. Charlie is the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. He is Warren Buffett's guru and now Warren Buffett's partner. If you read and hear Warren Buffett, he keeps talking about Charlie said this and Charlie did that. And this man, Charlie, married at the age of around 20, had 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. And they were divorced at the age of 29. And his house and everything that he had went to the wife, not that it was much. And the son, aged 8, got leukemia. There was no widespread medical insurance at the time. And Charlie and his wife were sitting out at leukemia centers, watching the suffering of their son who could not get proper treatment. And when he was 9, the boy died. So Charlie Munger, today one of the richest people on earth, had the tragedy of watching his only son die when he was hardly 30 years old. When Charlie himself was hardly 30 years old, he was broke. He had nothing. For him, in managing his risks, if insurance was widespread at the time, it would have made a huge positive. It's a different matter that possibly the hardship brought Charlie out. So when we study insurance, we talk about risk. What causes the risk? Peril, a hazard. Send this presentation to whoever wants. I'm going to skip through some of these, just some quick reading. I'll stop where I think it's more relevant. Now, the probability of an event happening is between 0 and 100%. Now, if something is definitely going to happen, nobody is going to bet on that. No insurance company will offer you insurance if you are definitely going to have an accident in the next period for which that insurance is given. If it is 0, you do not want insurance either. So insurance is based on the probability of something happening, and that probability is neither 0 nor 1, neither nothing nor 100%. And the cost that we pay for insurance is based on that. If nothing's going to happen, don't take insurance. If it's definitely going to happen, insurance will not be offered to us. So insurance covers risk. Just leave you to read it and move on. Peril is the cause of loss. A drunk driver in an accident, the peril, I believe, is neither car nor driver nor alcohol. It is the alcohol in the driver. Whatever causes the loss or increases the chance of a risk is called a peril. And this is something that is considered in insurance. Risk is not uncertainty. Risk is covered. There are 2 kinds of sins or wrongs. One of them is crime, which is prosecuted by the government. The other is private wrongs. Insurance deals with unintentional negligence, carelessness, and things that happen without the intention of doing something wrong. It deals with covering us in case of tort, a personal fault, a mistake. It does not cover us for a crime. It does not cover us for speculation. I cannot take a bet that I'm going to buy a stock which will go up, and if it does not go up, I want to be covered. Such is not available to me. And this is my final slide. I don't believe in palmistry, but this is something like the lines on your palm. We study for the first 20 to 25 years of our life. And then we live a life where we work and earn, or run our business and earn. And we have goals. The goals that we have during our life, till we retire, during which we need to have a retirement corpus to look after ourselves and our spouse, is to be funded by working. And if we die before we meet our goals, we insure our lives, all those assets, to cover those risks. So insurance fills in for those little dots. In the event we are not able to reach those goals, we expect the insurance to step in. Insurance should not meet any other goal. Anything else, if you're looking for it from insurance, we are wasting our money. We cannot educate our children if our health is bad, so we need medical insurance. Johnny will talk about that. We talk about housing insurance when we take a home loan. All of these we are going to talk about. So thank you. Back to Jayant.
Thanks, Naveen. That was a very good presentation. So I would request all the panelists to switch on your camera. And basic rules is, so no panelists will cross talk with each other. If they have any questions, they can put it up to the moderator, and moderator will ask the panelist. All the audience questions are curated and will be taken up by me during the course of our discussion. And we all are adults, no personal remarks or name calling. And so this is the order which we will be going. So let's start with the more philosophical questions. Naveen has already told why and what, but why do we require insurance in terms of what are the risks in terms of we are exposed to assets as well as to ourselves in terms of life? So since there is a lady in the panel, we can start with the lady first and then go towards Mr. Naveen and then John.
Any particular question I have to answer, or?
No, we'll start with the more philosophical one. Why do we require insurance?
Okay, as Naveen clearly said, why do we require insurance? Because it is to cover the losses. And it is many times we people do mix our insurance with the investment. We think that insurance is for investment, and many people do the mistakes there. Any losses, death, disease, disaster, and disability. These are the 4 biggest risks in our life, which we cannot predict, which we cannot avoid also. So, and they will not knock the door and they will ask the permission whether we have to come into your house or in your life. So, but the thing is, we have to prepare for that. That is a important lesson we have to learn from the insurance. And many times we think that, okay, whenever we are paying insurance companies are going to reach. And they think that I'm happy, I'm healthy, my family don't have any hereditary problem. Why should I buy insurance? So as I said, to cover all the 4 risks, we have to buy an insurance. And definitely we can discuss more about later how, when, and why. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes. Yes, Mr. John, you want to add something to the topic?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Vikram. Vikram and myself, we were in the HDFC together. And Vikram was doing much better than me
In terms of sales or what?
in terms of sales and in terms of business and all that. Yeah, he was one of the top guys, you know. And I, like Charlie, I also had a difficulty with my child, and that is one of the reasons why. Like Charlie, I also had, like Mr. Naveen said, Charlie went bankrupt, and Johnny also went bankrupt. That is when I decided. I said, let me also inform all the people, whoever I meet.
Have we lost her?
How? Yeah, I lost her. Yeah, I lost her. She was my only child. I lost her at the age of 10 years and 8 months. And total expense was 36 lakhs. That is when I decided, you know, that I tell people how important it is to buy health insurance. Of course, I do life insurance also. Now, everybody will agree with me when I say health issues can't be predicted. Hence, health insurance is the best option available to overcome the heavy financial loss that may occur in the form of hospitalization and medical expenses. The right decision of purchasing a health insurance policy should complement the wise move of picking the right one. Precise to say, having a policy that offers complete protection is more essential than just having a health insurance cover. Protection against all healthcare eventualities for an entire family on floater basis or for an individual. This is very, very important. And over the years, I realized that people who have bought insurance have become good friends of the insurance agents or insurance advisors, they call them, or financial consultants. There will be a lot of questions from the panelists, from the people who have joined us today. And I will wait for the questions to come in to answer them. Thank you very much for taking me on.
Yeah, so all the panelists, I mean, all the attendees can put in their questions into the chat. So I will curate everything and I'll ask the questions as in when the situation in terms of topic. Naveen, you have anything to add on the?
Yeah, something on the introduction side.
Yeah.
I teach insurance to undergrads and postgrads. And the first thing that I do, of course, you need to get attention and grab the students by the neck, if possible, metaphorically, of course. And I ask them, how many of them have life insurance? How many of them have insurance first? And about half of them would say they have it. And then I specify whether they have life insurance. And yes, they have. And these are very often 20 to 22 years old, not married. Very few of my students have been married when they were studying. So I said, why on earth do you have life insurance? Oh, daddy bought it. So daddy bought life insurance for you. Why do we take insurance? You have a bike. Why do you take insurance? In case of an accident, you're covered. You have health insurance. You're covered for the same reason. The reason you have life insurance is because your father has been miseducated on insurance and has bought an insurance policy. Actually, I teased him. I said, ask your daddy, did you buy this insurance so that I should die and you make money? The one good way of getting through to young people is, I think that,
The humor.
does your daddy want money? And is he praying for you to die? He is not. Okay, very honestly, he's not. He's praying for you to have a long life. Now, why has he made that financial mistake of buying a person who does not need insurance? So there's an ad campaign of insurance company a few years ago. Come insurance lene ki bimari. The sickness of buying less insurance, Bharti AXA. We also have the problem of paying too much premium for rubbish insurance, irrelevant insurance. We buy insurance for the wrong people, for the wrong causes.
For wrong purpose also.
Wrong purposes, yes, Jay, thank you. And these are a part of the myths that I hope we can clear, at least to some extent today, whether it's life or medical or the other types of insurance. So take this ride with us.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for all the warming up of, we all know why we need insurance. So let's touch upon, we'll break up the subject into two parts. So one is life insurance, then the general insurance. And the general insurance will cover all the health, disability, and all the things. In life, we'll touch upon why do we require and what are the different kinds of life insurance there. So we'll start with Johnny here, I suppose. So what are the different types of life insurance which is there, and what are the different purposes why we need to choose that particular scheme or particular policy in terms of the objective of buying that?
Yeah, life insurance, mostly only two types of life insurance are there. One is savings. People want to do a lot of savings. Previously, there were no options for them, or they did not know much about other things like, I mean, of course, all of them knew about fixed deposits and things like that. But savings, at the same time, protection of their life in the event of me not being there, who will take care of my family? They should not go Ammade, if my wife leaves or my children leaves, and if I leave them high and dry, where will they go? And with that kind of thinking, people bought insurance. People bought insurance because of that, because everybody loved their families and everybody wanted to protect their families, and they did not want their families or family members to go Ammade anywhere, That is one kind of insurance, that's savings and protection. And there is a pure protection and also kind of housing loan protection insurance. This is called term insurance. The term insurance always takes care of, in the event of me not being there, X amount of money will come to my family. Okay. And suppose I have bought a house or a car, whatever I have bought, I have taken a loan and I have paid half of the loan and I'm not there. What happens then? So term insurance gives back, suppose I have taken a 20 lakh loan or 50 lakh loan, the term insurance gives back all that 20 lakh loan or 20 lakh or 50 lakhs to the nominee. And hence the house becomes theirs, plus they will have little extra for themselves, so that they are not left high and dry. These are the two kinds of insurances that mostly are sold. Sometimes people used to sell kind of money back policies. I have not sold money back policies, not a single one, simply because people did not know that money back policy cost them 40% extra.
Mhm.
40% extra. And that means that anybody who sold money back policy took home a little, I mean, the advisors, they took home a little more, commission.
Little? Are you sure about it?
extra commission,
Yes.
but they did not inform the people that they will be paying 40% extra. That is where I not a single policy I sold as money back policy.
Okay. Thanks,
So-
thanks, Mr. Johnny, to warming up the concept. So, Mr. Johnny here introduced us that there are two kinds of insurance. One is savings plus insurance, then other is pure protection. So, what I would ask Dr. Maria is, can you educate our audience in terms of various things which are there, like what is an ULIP, what is an endowment, or what is a whole life policies, which are variety of savings plus life insurance which is there. If you can throw some light on these things, what are the features in terms of in a broader scale on a macro level? You're on a mute. Yeah.
Johnny already told about that. There is some some people are selling for retirement plans and money back plan. ULIP is unit linked insurance plan where savings and insurance both it is included in that unit linked plan. And as I said, term insurance, as per my knowledge, term insurance is the best insurance in life insurance, because we are buying insurance only for the protection purpose, not for the investment purpose. And what is the difference between endowment plans and term insurance is, suppose if I give one example, suppose one person is maybe at the age of 35, he is having a wife and 2 children, and he is paying a premium of, for example, 1 lakh rupees, okay, for an endowment plan. He may cover maximum 10 lakh or 20 lakh rupees. But for the same person, if he, same 35-year-old person, if he pay around 25,000 rupees, he may get 1 crore coverage. I can give you one example. Recently, one of my friend who was in Delhi, he died due to COVID-19 and he was earning 3 lakh rupees per month. And he had an insurance up to 8 lakh rupees. That is all endowment plans. He was paying more than 80,000 rupees premium per annum. But now if we see, he was bringing 3 lakh rupees per month income. But now the family, they have grown up children is there, their education is pending. Now whether they can survive with the 8 lakh rupees. If suppose he would have bought some years back the same amount, maybe he would have crossed more than 2 crore or 3 crore rupees of coverage he would have had. So that is the difference, main difference between term insurance and endowment plans. So in endowment plan, premium is huge, risk coverage is less, and term insurance premium is very less, risk coverage is more. And the thing is, in endowment plan, whatever you paid, you will get back after certain years. But in term insurance, you will not get back that money. But now some companies came up with the option that return on premium option, where they will deduct the taxes, and if nothing will happen on a certain period of time, like if you have taken an insurance for up to 75 years or 85 years, then till nothing is happened till 75 or 85 years, after that completion of year, they will deduct the taxes whatever they paid and they will give back rest of the money. That is called return on premium. Otherwise, in pure term insurance, there is no returns. There is only a huge coverage. So this is the main difference between term and endowment plan.
Well, thanks, Maria, for educating us. So, Naveen, in terms of Johnny and Maria have introduced us in terms of different types of life insurance which is there, and based on that broadly, what are different category in terms of things. So, I would like to ask you in terms of what are the mistakes which people generally do when buying any of these things in terms of policies? What is the general common mistakes in terms of people do? Why are people like with Maria's example? Why are people so underinsured? And why do people buy all kinds of wrong products in terms of things? So what I famously call it is that is where the money goes to ICU or money goes to dead end in terms of, because if you end up buying wrong products, one is it does not suffice any of the purpose why you're buying it, and two is you're not there and your family is left low hanging with whatever you have bought. So what are the common mistakes which people do, and what are the things in terms of as a common scale they have to in terms of take care while buying these things?
A small clarification. Somebody asked me if I was eating something or sipping whiskey. It's actually a cough syrup. I have a cough. I'm actually COVID positive and resting for that. It doesn't spread on the computer.
Yeah, we're aware of that.
Some years ago, around 2007, I think, I had done a bit of a study on, I'd worked on Excel, making a comparison between term insurance and an endowment plan. Endowment plans in those days were giving returns at about 6%. Today, they're giving a return of about 1.5 to 2.5%, which is rubbish. And if you're looking at the return of premium, again, it's at a high cost. Okay, so when I did this comparison, if a person aged 30 were to take life insurance for 30 years in an endowment plan for say 10 lakh rupees, take the premium paid and split it between a term insurance plan and public provident fund for the same 30 years. At the age of 60, that is in 30 years, the public provident fund would give 400% of the amount that an endowment plan would offer. So an endowment plan is, Johnny sort of used this word, and did not use this word, it's a con job. He said, people don't tell you, but the commissions are higher, so they'll sell you this, oh, you're getting your money back. You're getting nothing back. After inflation, you're losing money first. So concentrate on what you need. Secondly, there are 3 types of calculations to see how much insurance a person should take. And of these, one makes sense. That is the expense replacement calculation. The other is income replacement, and the third is human life value. Now, if you take something that is excessive in insurance, during your lifetime, you'll probably be starving to pay the insurance premium, so that when you die, your family will have a party. They'll be waiting, let this guy go. They'll have ordered the single malts in anticipation.
That's a moral hazard, right?
So what you need is to ensure that you meet the needs of your family. One of them is your regular income, necessity to eat, to wear clothes, to educate your children, to give them the higher education that you had wanted for them. Add a retirement corpus for your spouse in your absence. So one is to calculate that amount that you need at a discounted rate, say of 5% or so, so that 5% of the insurance amount will take care of the needs of your family on an ongoing basis, the interest on the insurance money you've got. To that, you need to add the loans that you have. If you have a housing loan, you need to add that amount, because when you die, your family cannot live on the streets. Maybe you take a separate insurance policy for that. That's the laddering, we can look at that separately. The goals, loans, and income corpus is something that you add together, deduct from that the assets that you have, investments and properties, except for your own house, because your family has to live in that house. that would give your family an inflation adjusted lifestyle of the same kind that they were enjoying when you were there. Some things that will be deducted from this: you don't have your EMI to be paid because you're going to pay that up. You do not have your personal expenses. Please note that 10 or 15% of our income goes on our personal expenses, going to office, dressing up and all that. I have not shaved. I'm not in office. If I were to go to office, I'd be well dressed. Now, these are expenses, office parties and all that. Now, these will not be a burden on the finances of the family when I die. And so therefore, they can be deducted. So there you come out with how much insurance do I need, and take a term policy for that, maybe multiple term policies. If I have a home loan for 10 years, take a 10-year policy. Secondly, all our financial goals have to be met before the age of 60. That's age of retirement. After 60, a banker will not give me a loan. Therefore, if I have not met my financial goals before the age of 60, I am a financial failure. And I need, therefore, till the age of 60, let's say 65, I need to take some life insurance. Anything beyond that is a waste, because please note that the insurance premium you pay is an expense. I'd rather use this for the enjoyment of my family. So having the right kind of insurance, the right amount of insurance are both very vital.
Yes.
It takes a little bit of calculation. My preferred calculation is the expense replacement, so that my family will have the same lifestyle as they were enjoying when I was alive. Not so much more that they'll have a party and be happy I've gone. Have I conveyed
Then
it?
of course you'll be happy when you're gone. So coming back, so there was this research done on in 2012 in terms of the insurance industry, in terms of mis-selling and how people are underinsured. And so the title of this research is basically "The Case of Mis-Selling Billions, Estimating Losses to Customers Due to Mis-Sold Life Insurance Policies." That's the title of the paper. And research was done between 2002 to 2009 in terms of the entire, how much the premiums were corrected. So the entire, they put the opportunity cost of these people who have bought the insurance in terms of the quantum of money goes to almost around trillion rupees in terms of, that's how much is the quantum of missold, or the concept of insurance, which is people don't understand, have been peddled the wrong products in terms of things. So that is why the entire, when you're buying into these products, you need to understand what these features are. So example, case being here, Mr. Vinayak for insurance. So here what Naveen meant was rather than buying into an endowment policy, you put the same amount in PPF and with basic minimum coverage in terms of the sum assured. And over the period of term, the PPF generally has generated better returns than where this underlying products actually go and invest. Example, ULIP goes and invests, if it's market related, it goes and invests in financial markets like stock market. All your traditional products and things goes and invest in Government of India bonds. Your PPF, again, you're lending it to government and earning interest on it. So we can, both are sovereign guarantees, so government stands in both of the things. So the risk on your investment is same. Whereas what Naveen meant was if you can take a pure term cover and invest this, you earn better chances of you probability of earning in terms of live probability. I mean, there is proven track record in terms of PF has beaten the traditional thing. So you need to understand where does the insurance companies also make the money in the policy. So these are some of the questions which you need to ask when someone is selling, or your banker or any of your advisors are selling. These are relevant questions you need to ask. What is the term? What is the policy all about? What are the features? What are the coverage? What I'm taking? Is it adequate to for me, for my lifestyle? These are my expenses and these are my goal. Is it, if I'm taking the thing, am I adequately covered? And on top of that, these are the things which are relevant questions to be asked. Once you ask and you get the answer, then you can make a good calculated judgment whether to go in to buy. Because most of the time what happens is, as a tradition, whenever kids are born, whenever someone is married, traditionally people have been the insurance thing, so they will be forcefully, I mean, as an obligation to ask you to buy into the thing. So even if someone asks you to buy, relative, of course you can't be impolite and reject straight away. Ask these questions and tell him that, buddy, see, these are the things which I'm looking. If your product, what you're trying to sell, does not qualify, so that's the reason why I'm not putting my money in terms of, because all these premiums are not one-time thing. Most of it's getting discontinued is because there are multiple years you have to pay, and whenever you discontinue, at the end, insurance company is the one which makes money out of these. So these are the things which you need to keep in mind. So now coming back to more of a general insurance topic in terms of things. So we'll start with Maria. So what are the various general insurance in terms of coverages, different risks we are exposed to, and what are the kinds of policies which we need to take care of the risk?
Okay, in general insurances, there are many insurances. We can basically, mainly that is a health insurance. Most people are looking for that. And there are vehicle insurance, home insurance, and there are many other insurances. Okay, so I'll just focus on some points about health insurance. In health insurance, see, normally, as I said, many people will think that, okay, I'm healthy, I'm fit, I do exercise every day, I don't have any hereditary problems, so I don't want to take any health insurance. So we cannot predict the risk. See, as now COVID-19 and all, there are many lost their life, even many were in hospitalized. And we can see the hospital bills, they were very huge. So if any person, he doesn't have any insurance, like health insurance, then they are going to pay huge hospital bills. If they don't have anything, they are their entire savings may go, as Johnny sir said, like one disease or one illness may do the bankrupt for any one person. So that's why it is very important to have a health insurance, and health insurance is always better to have when you are young and healthy, and it has to cover your entire family. Now, why young and healthy? See, when certain ages crosses, in some companies it is after 45, they will take pre-medical checkup. When the pre-medical checkup comes, if there is any pre-existing diseases, that will not be covered on certain years. See, some policies will cover after 3 years, some policies will cover after 4 years. So depend upon product, depend upon company, they will make a rule. Other than that, in any health insurances, there are accidental will cover after 24 hours. Accidental hospitalization will cover after 24 hours. Other than accident cases, it will cover after 30 days. So that is a very, very important. Many people will think that, okay, I bought insurance today, tomorrow it has to cover. It will not cover. It has to take 30 days to cover. And there are specified diseases. Like I can give some examples like piles, hernia, knee joint surgery, back pain surgery, then sinus, thyroid problem. Such specified diseases, it will cover only after 2 years. and pre-existing diseases will cover after 3 or 4 years, depend upon the product and depend upon the company. And we have to mention what are the pre-existing diseases we have. Many times people will think that, okay, if I will disclose the pre-existing disease, okay, company may not give the insurance. I can claim later. What will happen? See, anyway, we are going to our known doctor or like any other doctor for emergency, and doctor will ask, do you have any pre-existing disease, or are you taking any medicines and all? Then they will don't know like whether they have told the same reason for the insurance advisor or not. They will tell each and every history. And because the medication will differ, if I not tell to the doctor, medication will differ. And then what will happen? Doctor will write down each and everything on the case sheet, and that will go to the insurance company. And when they find out that this person has not disclosed the thing, and now it is disclosed, means they will reject the claim. Many times they will reject the policy also. So that is why don't take that risk by not disclosing the things. So that is a very, very important thing. And there are many cases which are not covered at all. Maybe psychiatric problems, or like we can say like plastic surgery.
Dental.
Plastic surgery. And if suppose dental problem, if suppose due to accident there is a plastic surgery has to be done, or there is a dental problem, or there is a mental problem or psychiatric problem, then it will be covered. But not for the beauty purpose and all, they will not cover. So that should be very clear when they are taking a health insurance. And health insurance premium is always increasing as age is increasing. And when the family, depend upon your family size and the age. So that's why that has to be. And many times people, there is a co-payment after 60 years. That means when if they are taking a policy after 60 years, then there is a co-payment. That means 20% co-payment is there. So 20%.
Can you explain what co-payment is?
Co-payment means suppose if the bill is 1 lakh rupees and there is a slab of 20% co-payment, 80,000 will be paid by the company and 20,000 you have to pay from your pocket. So that is a co-payment clause. And if any person is taking new policy, what I'm talking, if there is an existing policy, that will not applicable. If you are taking new policy after 60 years, then co-payment is applicable. So that is a thing. And there are different policies like family floater, individual policy, and specific disease policies are there. Suppose, as I said, if there is any person is having heart disease, already he has a heart disease, or already he or she has a cancer, then companies are not giving any insurances. But there are some companies where they are giving specific disease related insurance. That means they will have a clause, these diseases, but they should not be like it has to be cured. Like if cancer is there, cancer has to be cured, but there are chances of second occurrence or more occurrences. So that's why companies are giving cancer specific insurance. So then they can have that insurance. Limitations also, they will not cover 100%. There is a limitation, but the thing is, at least they will cover for other things. Otherwise, if the company is not giving any insurance to any particular person, means they will not cover for anything. Any question, Jan? So these are the main important things you have to take care when you are having a health insurance.
Okay. So, thanks for the heads up on that. So, Mr. Johnny, what are the in terms of parameters what people have to take into account in terms of the coverages what they need to take, whether it's health insurance or the critical insurance? What is the coverage generally? How much should be there in terms of to offer them good protection in terms of the premium what they're paying?
See, first of all, sir, when I give them insurance, I ask them certain things like, the room rent, for instance. The room rent, what is the kind of room that they want to go into? Because most of us would like to go into a single room. So why single room is because there is one washroom.
Yeah.
If it is a shared room, then there is one washroom, and people who go there, all of them have some kind of ailment or the other.
Mhm.
And sharing the same washroom, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't look good also.
Hmm.
And in a single room, what happens? Our own people can be there with us in this single room. In the shared room, after 7 o'clock, they will keep your people. After that, they will say you go outside and sit. They will give you a chair outside.
Yes.
So the patient feels good when the person has a single room. Depending on that, I ask people whether they can afford to pay X amount of money and for, I mean, a certain amount of sum insured, say 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs, whatever, that sum insured, are you able to pay this kind of premium?
Mhm.
If they are able to pay that kind of premium, definitely I will suggest to them more than 5 lakhs and above this one, sum insured. 5 lakhs in the company that I am working will give you 7,500 rupees per day room rent. That is at the moment it is okay. But after some time, no, after some time, they will have to take a shared room only, because medical inflation will increase, and they will say, okay, the room rent will be 10,000 rupees. So that's why people have to decide as to what kind of room they will have, they want to choose. There are 2-3 kinds of policies that I sell. One is health insurance and a top-up policy, plus a top-up policy. Top-up policy doesn't cost much. At the same time, I also give them an accident policy.
Mhm.
Accident cover, and accident cover is very cheap. Say 148 rupees per lakh, that kind of this one. Why accident cover is because, first of all, we need to understand what is an accident. Accident, of course, can happen to anybody, anywhere, even in the house that we are living in. Falling from the staircase, falling in the bathroom, that is also an accident. Some flying object comes as we are walking on the road and hits you. Even dog bite, donkey bite, snake bite, or donkey kick, or or even a woman bite and vice versa. All these are considered as accidents. Your vehicle accident, your plane accident, or you're traveling by ship accident there, it is also considered as an accident. So accident insurance also is very, very important and very cheap also. And people have to buy these kind of insurances. I feel nowadays why people have to buy accident insurance also is because there are not many people who are given the right kind of licenses.
Yeah, we all know how the licenses are.
Yeah, right kind of licenses also. And Ghar Ghar Ki Kahani is everybody, almost many people, drink and drive is there. So that has become a Ghar Ghar Ki Kahani. So because of that, I think we need to have a little bit of accident insurance, and it will not cost you much. It will, for 1 crore, it will cost you about 8,000 rupees or so.
Okay.
So
So
these are
one of
the,
so thanks, Johnny, for in terms of what are the different parameters as an individual you have to consider. So one of our participants has asked in terms of what is top-up insurance and primary. So basic in terms of, you break up the whole concept. So primary policy, and there is top-up policy. So primary is
it's a
yeah
basic policy. It's
Yeah.
a basic policy. You take a basic policy. And once you take a basic policy, you also take a top-up policy. For instance, 25 lakh or 50 lakhs, whatever, top-up policy. Suppose you have taken a 25 lakh top-up policy. What happens with the basic policy? Basic policy has to be used first. And in the event of the bill going much bigger than the basic policy, of course, the top-up policy comes handy. Okay, so that is one of the reasons. And since the basic policy, the top-up policy also has to be bought because bought by especially these people who have insurances from the companies. See, many people say, no, we have an insurance from the company, so we don't want any policies. Buy a this one top-up policy simply because in the event of you losing a job, which is very common these days, and if you have not utilized that top-up policy for 5 years, you can turn that top-up policy into a basic policy by paying a little extra premium. So that is another reason why you need to buy a top-up policy.
The other question is,
Yeah.
Jayant, may I?
the other question is, can the primary and top-up be from two different companies? Example, yeah.
It is better to buy from one company
Yes,
because you can take a top-up policy from other company, but it is better to buy from one company simply because say there is a defined limit from one company, say 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs is a defined limit. Okay, now that bill has to be paid by that company, but how will you make it known to the other company that you have spent those 5 lakhs and given the bills to the other company? How will you make it known to this company? It's a process. Here, it doesn't happen that way. If you have in one company, you have this insurance, say 5 lakhs are over, you give another card, another medical card and say that, okay, same company, I have this card. That is how it goes.
Okay. Thanks, Johnny. In terms of, yes, Naveen, you wanted to add something.
One small thing on two things, actually. One is I wanted to come in with a little bit on the personal accident insurance. And another is we have questions that come in now and earlier as well.
Yes, I have.
So we need to look at those. We're running out of time. But very quickly, I've studied this and I believe that very, very few people in our circles die before the age of 60 or 65. But all of us meet with accidents. And we cover ourselves for death, but not an accident. And therefore, the cheaper insurance, which is personal accident, has to be taken first. Even if you don't take life insurance, take personal accident insurance. Secondly, alcohol nullifies your policy if you are drunk or on drugs. When you've had that accident, including, as Johnny said, slipping and falling in the toilet, the policy will not pay. It's a word of caution there. But please look at personal accident is more important. Life gives, on the other hand, even if somebody commits suicide after 1 or 2 years of taking the policy, a life insurance policy will pay out. But please note that life insurance policies pay someone else, not you.
Yes.
Personal accident is for surviving and for dying, both.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Yes, that's true.
so Naveen, I just wanted to pick your brains in terms of some of the misconception why people don't buy health insurance or that matter in terms of accident insurance is I'm already covered in office. Why do I need an extra one? They have a small coverage. Most of the time they underestimate the medical inflation in terms of things. So if you look at the developed market like US or something, where the medical expenses grow at anything between 15 to 16%, and in our own country, that's almost around 22% in terms of average. If you take in terms of, with all the advance of technology and everything, we keep harping upon the technology will bring down the cost, but it's only going one way, which is up in terms of a medical thing. So why do people under insurance themselves, and what is the whole merit of, even if you're covered by an employer through a group insurance, why you should build in a separate portfolio of your own health insurance, so that if you decide to quit or if you retire, none of those most of the time these things don't carry forward with you for the rest of the life. So what are the things which people have to consider?
Changing my job or losing my job is just part of it. My company's profitability might not continue, and they might decide to cut costs
Yes.
and discontinue. Another thing is that I think Maria said this: if you take insurance, medical insurance after the age of 60, the premium is huge. When I've been asked for clients who are 70, 75 and above, I found the premium was so heavy, so high, that I told them, don't take insurance. Take the amount that you would be paying for insurance premium and invest it. And if you have a medical bill, use your own money. You end up saving a lot that way. So initially, prepare for the worst. You prepare for risk, that is insurance. So take insurance. But once you are old, you're probably too old to make insurance, for insurance to make economic sense. And if you've not had insurance till the age of 70 or 75, please don't waste your money. For a 2 lakh insurance, you'll be paying some 50,000 rupees as premium. Save that 50,000 rupees. And there is also the issue of co-pay. That means the first 20 or 30% of the bill is yours. The insurance company will pay only the rest. So you can, do better than what the insurance company is doing for you.
Okay. So
The risk of insurance stopping from your employer, that's a big risk.
Yeah. So we'll move into the audience, participants' questions, which we have got it before the thing, and also we'll take up the ones in the chat. So Maria, this question comes to you. Can a person take multiple policies from different companies, and how does the claim get settled in terms of things? Is this a good optimum strategy in terms of, like, example, I have a primary in an X company and top up in a Y company. How does the settlement, or is it a prudent strategy in terms when we're taking the health insurance?
I think Johnny sir has already explained that one. You can have different policies, but that is not advisable, because companies pay only one. Because the settlement has to be done from the one company, and they will see the bills and all, and other company, if that is already done, they will not pay. You cannot claim from two companies. But if it is a case of top up, suppose if your bill basic policy is 5 lakh rupees and your bill is 8 lakh rupees, and you have another 5 lakh rupees top up policy, then the basic 5 lakh rupees you can claim from the basic insurance, whichever you have taken. Another 3 lakh rupees you can claim from the top up insurance. And as sir said, you can take top up from either the same company or the other company, but it is always advisable to take from the same company because of the claim process.
There's a terminal correction, correction here. There's a principle of co-insurance. The principle of co-insurance says that you can take multiple policies. And in case of a claim, every insurance policy that you have will pay proportionately. They will pay proportionately. Earlier, we had 2 or 3 policies. We used the one with the maximum no claim bonus. But today with technology, every company knows who else has got it.
And most of the time, the TPA, the third party settlement, is common for most of the insurance. So in that way, they know what kind of payments are happening for the deceased year in terms of the settlement?
Yeah. So if I have two insurance policies of 5 lakhs plus 5 lakhs, and my claim is 6 lakhs, it'll come 3 from each. That
Okay.
is the law.
Okay.
Okay. Co-insurance law deals that way.
Okay.
However,
So,
this does not apply to life.
Hmm.
See, there is the principle of not making profit on insurance. So your general insurance, you cannot make profit on your medical bill. You cannot make a profit on your car insurance if there is an accident. However, life has no value. It's priceless. Therefore, in case of life, every policy that you make will pay you completely the sum assured in case of death.
yes, that is correct. So coming back to one of the questions, this goes to Mr. Johnny. What is your view in terms of COVID insurance, which has become pretty famous in the last 1 year, versus vis-a-vis the health insurance? How does the pandemic problem, if someone is succumbed to the problem, how does the settlement happen? Is it the COVID specialized insurance itself? Is it a better strategy?
Yeah, of course, whatever policies that you take, health insurance policies, they cover COVID.
Mhm.
Yeah, what they don't cover is asymptomatic and who goes home and takes rest for 15 days, whatever, or a person is COVID positive, like Mr. Naveen, who is at home and he takes his own medication or doctor's medication, that is not covered. But a person who is admitted to the hospital, even the PPE kits are covered. PPE kits in the say ward, at least 2 PPE kits per day, and in the ICU, 3 to 4 PPE kits in the ICU, because most of the companies, they don't give you disposables. But with the company that I am working, they give you PPE kits. Even the PPE kits are given, and COVID and its complications are covered.
Okay. Okay. So thanks for that. Dr. Maria, this question is for you. How does an individual choose various insurance companies or policy? What is the in terms of basic research one has to know in terms of from which company he has to buy, whether it's health insurance or life insurance? What are the one or two thumb rules which he needs to consider before buying from the company?
Okay, I think one I can say networking hospital. Which company is having which networking hospital, because even though they have a non-networking hospital, so they can get a claim, but the process is a little bit difficult. You have to send all the because even I myself, I have experience when my husband got admitted in my in hospital. If you give the card, the process is very smooth, so you can like take care of your family member and they will take care of each and everything. But if you are if you don't have any insurance, then you have to run around for bringing the medicine and all many other things, and before admitting the person, you have to keep ready with the money, the admission amount and each and everything. So that's why if a networking hospital, you have to see and that one. And what are the other things, maybe you can say, like one is bonus. See, if you are not using any, there is a no claim bonus option is there. So that means if you suppose if your policy sum insured is 10 lakh rupees, and if you have not claimed anything this year, you are eligible to take no claim bonus next year. So you can see, because that is an additional thing you are getting each and every year. So that is a one option you can say. And nowadays there are restoration benefit is there. Restoration benefit means if suppose your 10 lakh is fully exhausted within maybe 1 or 2 months, you have another 9 months for completing your 1 year. Then what will happen if you don't have anything? Your entire family is covered under that insurance. then the company will give another like same amount of sum insured for as a restoration, or some companies will call as a recharge benefit. But the condition is that same thing you cannot be used for the same disease or for the same person. In some companies, they will give for multiple restoration. For higher sum insured, they will cover, even you can take. But for the basic sum insured, 5 lakh or 10 lakh rupees is there, you cannot. The same person, suppose Mr. A has used that full entire 10 lakh rupees for one disease, and the next there is 0, and they have given another 10 lakh rupees, and that Mr. A cannot use for the same disease. But Mr. B, C, they can use for the same disease or other diseases also. Mr. A can use for some other diseases also. So that is another restoration. And there is another you can check, that is not so compulsory, because we can do medical checkup outside also. There are some companies are offering free medical checkup every year. If there is no claim, some companies are offering even there is a claim, they will give free medical checkup.
Yeah, cool. So thanks for that. In terms of the product features, what are the things? The other one or two things which people generally do the research before taking the thing, or if you can ask your insurance agent or advisor when they're suggesting the thing is, one is, what is the claim settlement ratios of the companies from whom you're buying? That's one. Second thing is, how healthy is the insurance company from which you are buying? It shouldn't happen like somewhere like a US or where you end up paying the premiums for entire your life, and when it actually required it, the company goes belly up or goes bust. The third thing is the TPA, third party with whom you tend to deal with for the claim settlement, how easy or how difficult the things are in terms of the settlement process and all. So these are some of the things which as a footnote you need to do the research. Everything is available online. There's a site wherein everything in terms of the numbers, data, statistics is put out there. You can do it yourself, or you since you're buying it from an agent, you can outsource the research to him and ask all this relevant question before buying. So we're almost at the fag end of the thing. One last question in terms of thing is, so most of the time, so Naveen, this goes to you because it's investment oriented things. So most of the time people tend to buy this pension or annuity kind of thing where it has been sold as a good return prospect vis-a-vis any of the other alternatives which are there because of falling interest rates. These are best bet in terms because it gives you constant return thing. So I'd like to take know your view in terms of is this pension schemes or anything offered by the insurance companies any good? Do people have to put in their hard-earned money to earn return here? So what is your view on that?
So there is a pension product from LIC, which is the Prime Minister's PMVV something, which is up to 15 lakhs. It's not
Pradhan Mantri Vayu Yojana.
Yeah, exactly. It's similar to the senior citizen savings scheme, where your interest rate is frozen at the time of your investing. And you get that for the next 5 years in case of senior citizen savings scheme, and 10 years in case of LIC. But besides that, I do not recommend any pension product. The reason is the same product that you buy from a mutual fund or direct investment, which can be tax-free in your hands. The moment the word pension comes in, it becomes taxed. I do not know what the government has got against senior citizens. First of all, the returns on pension plans are very, very poor. They are in the 2 to 3% range. And on top of that, they're taxed. Ideally, it's a do it yourself. Don't look at that annuity, which is, in my opinion, the thing that I hold against NPS. My wife and I are the first 3 to 400th account in India for NPS. But I think that, I get a tax benefit when I invest, but when I pull it out, I lose much more than I get. Therefore, I am not in favor of using a pension plan. Do it yourself. Don't call it pension. Why go to something that's called a pension? Go to something that's called a regular mutual fund scheme. You get a tax benefit. The moment it's called pension, you're dead. you pay more tax. Your returns are beaten.
Okay. So
That's my
I mean,
opinion, Jayant.
yes, I mean, we are, so even I have the same view in terms of thing. You shouldn't mix up your risk coverage or risk management with the whole investment side of the things. The investment has to be always kept aside in terms of thing, and the whole concept of annuity and payouts and pension things are not evolved yet in terms of overall in terms of the recent return prospect and all these products end up investing in the same bonds or government of India thing, which earn similar thing, and because of the large expense ratios or the large fees which gets paid out to the agents thing, that reduces your overall thing. So what I would suggest any retiree or the one who's on the verge of retirement is go exhaust all your basic minimum in terms of your post office, Pradhan Mantri Vaya Yojana, senior citizen, all this thing. Then there is RBI bond, everything. Exhaust all these things, and then whatever is left in terms of thing, invest that through an advisor, through mutual fund or any of the thing. Participate in the thing. So the gone are the days wherein you can double your money in 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Now the only trajectory of interest rates is it's only going down. And if you're investing in PF or any PPF or any of other small saving thing, put it up now because post-election results after May 2nd, the interest rates will be going below. So lock up whatever you can in this financial year. So yeah, so we have taken up all the questions, most of the thing. So I'd like to thank all the panelists, Dr. Maria, Naveen Fernandes, and Johnny Fernandes, for having this discussion, giving your time, and in terms of sharing your knowledge on various things. Yeah, I'm almost done. So
you very
over to
much.
the organizers.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jayant. And okay, thank you so much for moderating this session. I think, we have taken most of the questions that was asked, because in the registration form also we had asked for some of the questions that they had. So if there anything that was not addressed, probably we are just planning to put them as a booklet with some of the feedbacks, and we will have that sent or circulated in the group. So maybe it will take about 10 to 15 days or so. Some of the common questions asked on insurance, apart from what we have addressed today. And I had already spoken to Mr. Naveen as well, and probably we'll see if some of these things can be answered and put in an ebook so that most of them would be benefited through this thing. Okay, so the last thing, we have the vote of thanks. We have Mr. Georgie with us. Georgie is a chartered accountant and a very good friend of ICBN, and he's an advisor as well. And so he would just give us a vote of thanks and also close us in prayer as well. You're muted.
William.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for your active participation in our session titled Common Myths and Facts of Insurance. I would like to thank our panelists, Naveen Fernandes, Johnny Fernandes, and Maria Pramila, for educating us on the concept of insurance and the need for it. I'd like to thank our moderator, Jayant Nanjappa, for ably and actively conducting the program and keeping it engaging for us participants. I would like to thank all ICBN members who have joined for your active participation with questions and raised at the time of registration as well as during the session. I would like to thank the people, the friends of ICBN who joined from other networks, and also I'm told Naveen's students have also joined the session. Thank you all for participating. I would also like to place on record the efforts put in by our resource team consisting of William and Ms. Uma. Thank you once again for the tireless efforts that you put in to try and bring relevant topics and speakers for our members. And I hope our participation would increase in our future sessions. I'd like to thank our chairman, Mr. Vikram Anthony, for leading us with his vision of having a common forum for Christian businesses to help and nurture each other. And once again, I thank all the speakers of the day, and I hope the people who have attended have benefited greatly from it. I have myself benefited from this informative session. And can we please bow our heads in prayer as we close the session? Heavenly Father, merciful Lord, you are our ultimate insurance provider, O Lord, and in you we come as families, as friends of businesses. O Lord, we come to your presence and we ask you for your protection during this very difficult times over all of us, O Lord. We pray that as businessmen, you protect us during the second wave of COVID, O Lord, and that we can prosper and can be able to help other businesses sustain and survive during these difficult times, O Lord. And as a network, we pray, O Lord, that we can help struggling businesses in whatever little ways that we can. We especially pray for Naveen as he is tested positive. We pray that you would grant him a speedy recovery. And we pray for the family of Brother Joseph Ravi, who passed away this morning. We pray, oh Lord, that your comfort would be there amongst all their family members during difficult times. We pray once again for protection for all of us and our families and our businesses. All this we ask in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.